to be here. Oh, can you hear that noise? Sort of stop in a minute. Sona doing something with the tractor right outside my window. Anyway, the game doesn't kick off till 8, so we can actually do both. We can come here and then we can watch England if we want to. That noise will go away in a minute if you can hear it. Sorry about that. You can't hear it. God, these Zoom filters are incredible. That was like a really loud lawnmower right outside my window. And then Boggs in London has said, Bodhi Leela says hello and thank you for the cards. So Bodhi Leela is one of our Breathworks senior teachers, really wonderful woman in London, very dedicated to Breathworks. And she's had a serious cancer diagnosis recently and really horrible surgery. And now she's on chemo. So really lots of love and best wishes to Bodhi Leela. And we can all think of her. And Kevin and Nottingham here, still in verbal silence. So we'll say a bit more about that in a moment. And Helen's saying, yeah, I was hoping for a period of calm before kickoff. Good idea. And we got Meg. Hello from Pinderfield. So as we've said other weeks, Meg is in a spinal injuries unit rehab situation after complications from surgery recently. So really wonderful that you're here, Meg. And we've all been thinking of you. Suzanne saying, hello from Cologne, 40,000 English people in town. Now, whether that's a pleasant invasion or not is probably debatable. But good luck, Suzanne, with living with 40,000 English people in your town. And they may be happy or may be sad in a couple of hours' time. And we've got Caroline, hi from Devon, and Joe saying, hello, lovely Meg. Okay, good. It's 2 minutes past the hour, so let's begin. So the first thing I wanted to say is that we're in the middle now of this fundraising campaign that we're doing, Silence for 7. And we've got 10 people who've undertaken an individual challenge to introduce some kind of silence into their day for 7 days, starting on Sunday and finishing next Sunday. And we had a kind of kickoff call on Sunday evening, and it was so inspiring. Just an hour. There were about 15 of us, and very, very moving. And many of the people who are doing the fundraising are people who've had bursaries themselves from Breathworks and want to give back. I find that very moving. And people are doing all kinds of things. So Nat here, he's doing a YouTube every day of an hour sitting in silence, bit of introduction and then sitting in silence, and people can join him. And then we've got Kevin here, who's turned his flat in Nottingham into like a Himalayan cave. And he's doing hours and hours of silence and going to do some artwork. So doing something creative to, like being on retreat. So Kevin's like on retreat in his flat in Nottingham. And then we've got Lizzie here, who's doing silence every day. And I'm sure there's others of you here. I'm sorry. I can see Joe's here. I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody out, but it's just really wonderful what everyone's doing. And I found it really inspiring at the event the other day. So Mark is going to put the campaign, the donation link in the box. Rather than donating to anyone's individual campaign this evening, we've got a single link where you'll be supporting the whole week, supporting all of us doing it this week. So yeah, it'd be really wonderful if you felt able to give a little bit and support these wonderful people that are doing things. And what I'm doing is I'm turning my phone off 10 p.m. till 10 a.m. It's such a relief. I get up in the morning and I'm not allowed to go near the thing until 10 a.m. It's like, oh my God, this is so good. I think I'll definitely keep it going. Getting up in silence, going outside, listening. So when we're quiet verbally, we can listen much more deeply, listening to the sounds of the world. And I'm not talking verbally till breakfast, which is about 9:30 for me. So already I'm finding it very beautiful, very, very beautiful. Yeah, so you can still join. You can still register a campaign if you want to, or you can support these wonderful people that are doing their campaigns. Okay, good. And then on this Sunday, we're doing another event to mark the end of it, where people are going to be sharing how they got on, what they learned, what it was like, and you're all very, very welcome to that. And you can register interest for that, and then you'll get the Zoom link sent to you. And Mark will also put that link in the chat, and we'll put it in at the end as well, so you don't have to go off following links right now when we're about to meditate. So I thought what we'd do tonight, in keeping with the theme this week of silence, is we'd have quite a quiet practice so we can all experience the gift of silence together. I will lead us in a little bit, and then we'll rest. We'll choose an anchor. Breathing is really good as an anchor, but if you find breathing disturbing for any reason, you could choose another anchor. So I'll give you a few suggestions. And then we'll just spend this period quietly coming back to the anchor. Every time the mind wanders off, you come back to the breathing or the anchor that you're choosing. And this is training. It's a little bit like training a puppy. You know, the puppy runs off, you call it back. It runs off, you call it back. And eventually you may end up with a happy, contented dog that's just walking beside you. So we can end up with a mind that's with us rather than running away all the time. A sort of happy, contented mind. So I thought that's what we'd do. I'm going to read the poem again that I read last week, this wonderful Rumi poem called Quietness. It's such a magnificent poem. It talks about death. It doesn't mean literal death. It means dying to the way we were in order to be reborn, as it were, to this person that's got this rich sense of quietness, openness. Okay, so let's begin by settling. Choosing our position. We can do it sitting, we can do it lying, we can do it standing, we can do it walking. It's completely up to you. We're having a quality of arriving with intentionality. So perhaps saying to ourselves, here I am meditating. How can I set my body up so that I'll be as relaxed as possible and yet alert? And positioning my body so that my mind gets the message, this is meditation time. It's not lazing about time. It's not doing time. It's positioning the body with dignity, alertness, and yet as much ease as possible. So let's begin by resting our awareness inside the points of contact between the body and the surface it's resting upon. And seeing if we can have a sense of the weight of the body dropping down through those points of contact. Yielding, resting, being held. And as we release gripping, holding on, tension, maybe there's a sense of the body opening up a little bit to occupy more space, and maybe a sense of lengthening a little bit and then releasing into the space all around. And we're receiving experience on the in-breath and then releasing experience on the out-breath. Maybe a sense of receiving energy on the in-breath and then letting go of tension and holding on with the out-breath. Including our emotional weather, how we're feeling right now, letting go of any sense of judgment. Just welcoming whatever we're experiencing into a field of awareness and a field of kindness. Thoughts are flowing through the mind. Seeing if we can get a sense of finding a middle way between suppressing our thoughts and getting swept away by them. Can you relate to them as mental events flowing through awareness? Let them come, let them go. Let them come, let them go. Now getting a sense of everything arising and passing in awareness. So there's sensations in the body, emotions and feelings and thoughts. Can we just let everything flow through the moment like a river? Receiving, letting go without getting tangled up with experience the way we normally do. Now to help the mind settle, to become a little bit more integrated and whole, less scatty, we can choose an anchor, something to keep coming back to when we notice we've wandered. So we can choose breathing, making sure it's the felt experience of breathing rather than an idea of breathing. So the movements and sensations of breathing in the belly, maybe the back of the body, the chest. And if that's disturbing for you for any reason, you could choose another anchor, maybe the bottom on the chair, or the feet on the floor, back on the bed, hands. Something in the senses that you can keep coming back to. So I'll read the Rumi poem and then we'll go into about 15 minutes of silence where we can each sort of gently engage with this period of training. Quietness. Inside this new love, die. Your way begins on the other side. Become the sky. Take an axe to the prison wall. Escape. Walk out like someone suddenly born into color. Do it now. You're covered with thick cloud. Slide out the side. Quietness is the surest sign that you've died. Your old life was a frantic running from silence. The speechless full moon comes out now. We're starting to transition out of the practice. Maybe opening awareness to include sounds, our environment, other people. So we're staying grounded and still, but open to the world around us. And then beginning to bring a little bit of movement into the body if we want to. Maybe fingers, toes, whatever feels appropriate. Opening the eyes if you've had them closed. Moving the body however we want to. Good, wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Really lovely to sit in silence together. Have a sense of this community. So for those of you who are new, I always stay on for a little bit at the end and people just share their experience in the chat box. I always read it out because it means you don't need to peer at the chat box. If you want to just slip away quietly, of course, that's absolutely fine. And yeah, just to encourage you to consider supporting these wonderful people who are doing these things for Silence for Seven. So it's Silence for 7 days, but it's also Silence to fund 7 young people to learn mindfulness, because we all see it in the news how the mental health of young people is taking a hit in the modern world. So we want to particularly give bursaries to people under 35, 7 people under 35. So that's what this campaign's for. So the links are there. Thank you, Mark. Good. So Lorian, thanks for that lovely meditation and for your help in the background, Mark. Hard to slow my brain down. Hard to slow my brain down lately, but so worth it. Yeah, that's a nice way of explaining it. Slowing the brain down. Yes, because it can feel So busy, can't it? So that's lovely, Lorian. Yeah. I think you'd said it's very hot earlier. Hello from a hot Southern California. Various thank yous. Olivia, I'm too hot. I'll have to move. Yes, not surprising. And other thank yous. And Chris, lovely, apart from the dogs debating who was lying where during the poem. It's funny. I hope they settle down after that. And more thank you. And then Joe, that was amazing. Thank you. I think that's the first time I've ever been able to sit in silence for that long. Yeah, that's really wonderful. It's such a wonderful thing to practice, doing unguided meditation sometimes and building this capacity to sit with our own minds and to stabilize the mind. And Lean, I had my two budgies chatting in the background, and I decided to focus on that during this meditation. I noticed so much more of their sounds. Yes, that's a sound can be a good anchor sometimes, the thing to keep coming back to. So listening to your budgies, that's wonderful. And Susan, quieter from COVID in Canada. Thank you. I'm not sure what that means. Less COVID in Canada, maybe, which is good news. And Lizzie, I usually focus on my breathing as an anchor, but chose my feet tonight, and it really was easier to focus. Maybe because they're a long way away from my scatterbrain. Yeah, that's interesting. If you can manage to get your awareness into your feet, if you've got a very busy mind, that can be quite helpful for exactly what you're saying. It's you're managing to shift your awareness from being all up here to as far away as possible down in the feet. Yeah, sometimes it's not possible. If the mind's very, very busy, we can't kind of find our way into the feet, but it's worth trying. Wonderful. More thanks. And then Kathy, thank you. Deeply peaceful. And the stillness allowed me to hear the liquid gold of birdsong. That's beautiful. Allowed me to hear the liquid gold of birdsong. And the thing is, that's always there. That's the thing about quietness. We can wake up to what's always there, but usually drowned out by our internal chatter and our busyness and so on. And Bridget, thank you. Needed space to process the week as sadly my cousin unexpectedly passed away today after a heart attack, and a friend's husband died earlier in the week. Oh my goodness, Bridget, wow, that's a lot. And how wonderful that you came, that you knew this to give yourself this time would be supportive. So thank you for sharing that with us and really good wishes to you. Yeah, that's a lot to process. And then we've got Marion, one of her poems. Marion does these little poems in the chat box. Wonderful. Settling into stillness, spaciousness and silence, heightened awareness or senses, hearing, feeling, sensing, being. Thank you, Vidyamala and everyone. Just out of hospital, having developed a DVT, much needed space to breathe. Gosh, sorry to hear that, Marion, as well. Yeah, there's always a lot happening in people's lives, isn't there? So I really hope you recover well from that. Susan is explaining the quieter from COVID in Canada, that she's got COVID at the moment. So I really hope that it's not too bad, and I hope you recover well from that, Susan. Karen, lovely period of silence. I noticed many things. My thoughts, visualizing them as a river running through, gone, becoming dispersed and more spacious on the out-breath. Laying down, I felt the pain ease in my lower back, that I drifted into sleepiness and brought myself back to my breathing body. Thank you for the period of stillness and presence. It's beautiful, Karen. Your thoughts like a river running through, gone, becoming dispersed and more spacious on the out-breath. Laying down, I felt the pain ease in my lower back, that I drifted into sleepiness and brought myself back to my breathing body. It's a beautiful description of the meditation process. And Nikki's saying, what about people who always have background noise on, music, radio, TV? Not me. What does this mean about them, if anything? Well, I mean, I can notice in myself sometimes if my pain's bad or I'm just feeling a bit agitated, then I have this compulsion to put something on. I think it's just a distraction, really. Probably we can just think that those people find it more difficult to quieten their minds in that moment. I mean, it's that, as I often say, we're the heroes. This is a challenging thing to do, to sit quietly with one's own mind. And most people don't want to do it or aren't able to do it. So then we're going to fill the space with chatter from outside. But you might think, oh, this is doing nothing. We're just sitting quietly for half an hour. It's a bold thing to do. Sometimes people think it's escapist to meditate, whereas I say it's the least escapist thing you can do to meditate. The least escapist, and it's very courageous. And Meg, that was so calming, Vidyamala. Thank you so much. Lots of dark thoughts. Thank you, everyone in this lovely community, for your love and support. So, Meg, it's just really wonderful that you've joined us from hospital. And having lots of dark thoughts is very understandable under the circumstances with what you're dealing with. So I'm so pleased it was calming for you. Yeah. Ruth, racing mind, ruminating over some challenging life events today. But sitting with the sound of silence feels like the fog has cleared a little and found myself thinking about something more positive. See, that's just amazing, isn't it? That sense of agency, you're noticing the ruminating mind, challenging events, sitting with the sound of silence. That's a wonderful way of putting it. Sitting with the sound of silence. And the fog has cleared a little, and you've been able to shift yourself to thinking about something more positive. That's just brilliant. Yeah. And it's like that line from the poem, you're covered by thick cloud, slide out the side, do it now. I love that. Yeah. And Dorian, challenging, kept losing my anchor and drifting into thoughts and upsetting emotion. Yeah, that can happen, Dorian. So thank you for your honesty. So you could do a recorded guided meditation if you can't stay with the anchor, then doing a recorded guided meditation can be more helpful. And but it's a good training as well to have. That was quite a long period of silence, so you could play around a wee bit. Yeah, but I hope that the thoughts and emotions settle down. Yeah, and maybe what you could do after the meditation is turn your attention to something resourcing. I know you talk about the nature where you live. So maybe look out the window and look at the sky, look at the birds, and shift your attention to something that's going to be resourcing for you. I can see you nodding, so that's good. Yeah. And Kevin, noisy here with the windows open. Focusing on the spaces between worked for me. Very interesting. Yeah, finding the stillness between the noises. See, that's a skill, isn't it? Wonderful, Kevin. In your Himalayan cave in your Nottingham flat. Probably quite hot, I'm imagining today, in the high-rise apartment. So Karen was, sorry, I haven't got I can't sort of scroll back, Karen, to see what you were saying, but I can see you're clarifying your comment. So thank you. And Nat, boundless blessings with metta. So metta is love and kindness in the Indian language. So boundless blessings with metta. That's nice. And then Miriam, like you said, it's always there, but felt that the birds were putting on a special concert tonight. Stunning. Heavenly practice tonight. Thank you. And to Mark, of course. That's lovely. They're always there, but when we pay attention, it's like, wow, are they doing something special right now? Probably not. But this glorious world that we live in doesn't always feel glorious, of course, but if we open up, we can often find something quite wondrous in the world out there, the world in here. Good. So we got to the end of the comments. So 20 minutes till kickoff for those of us who are going to watch the match. I'm going to watch the match. And see you all next week. And yeah, just enjoy listening to the sound of silence in your days. And thank you to those who've donated to this special fundraiser. And hope to see some of you on Sunday evening, even if you're not doing anything, but you just want to come along and hear how people found it to do their challenge. You're very, very welcome. We had people come last Sunday. We had the launch, and we had some people coming who weren't planning to do anything. And actually, one person who's a carer for her husband she decided on during the session, this was so amazing, she's going to get up at dawn this week and go to bed at sunset and have these hours of quiet before her husband gets up. And then she was also going to use that as a prompt to really sort of pay attention to how she communicates with her husband during the day. It was very, very inspiring. So she's getting up at something like 3:45 in the morning. Amazing. Good. Okay, everybody. Lovely. See you next week. Thank you so much for coming and sitting with me this evening.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Vidyamala.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Enjoy the football.